Yeah. Blackjack. Life is like a game of cards. It's not what you dealt, but how you play it. Yeah. Blackjack. To play each situation correctly. I remember they used to laugh at a brother.
Welcome back, guys. Welcome back. It's your boy DELRAY Richardson, platinum artist, platinum songwriter, Straight Game TV. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate your time. Hit the thumbs up button, as well as subscribe to the channel. Tell a friend. And also, like I said, always, if you want to be one of the first people notified when I drop some of this straight game, please hit the bell notification. I'm going to get right into it. This question right here comes from a brother from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And the question is, how could Tupac have the #1 album with Me Against the World and not be able to pay his own bail? Great question. What a lot of people don't really understand is that Tupac himself at that particular time in his life, he was fighting. He had a lot of legal litigation against him. A lot of it, mainly his blame, his responsibility. Like I said, when you deal with those facts, and trying to bring in money the way, record company money works, it's like quarterly. Every quarter you get a royalty check. And then on the other side, through your PRO, ASCAP, BMI, you get a monthly check, for songs that's played on radios, movies, television, satellite radio, streaming now, but that wasn't as prevalent as it is nowadays, you know what I mean? And like that, right? So, and like I said, from your shows, the fact that Tupac was actually locked up, we know from that perspective that he wasn't really able to get money from shows like that. I would have to say that Tupac was basically making more money at that particular time doing movies than he really was from his music career, based on the fact, like, when you do a movie, you basically get paid, basically up front, your money and so on and so forth, and as a commitment to finish filming and things like that. It can be broken down in different ways, but that's usually how that works. And so when you deal with the fact of him having the #1 album, you got to understand he had the #1 album when he was in jail. So the album was released when he was in prison. So that money doesn't come right away. You know what I mean? It takes at least a year to 7 months, 8 months for you to start to see any kind of royalties from that. And that only depends if you're recouped, meaning, videos. Like I said, they did the video with all of the celebrities in it, and so on and so forth. So they had to pay for that too. So you don't get any money, and it's kind of designed that way. You don't get any money until that money is basically recouped. You know what I mean? You get your mechanical royalties, which is per album sold from that perspective. Usually that's how that works. But as far as your royalties, from the actual sale of the album, Tupac had a 12% royalty rate at that particular time with Interscope when he was under his contract with them. So there's been a lot of talk recently, Tupac having a 360 deal. No, 360 deals didn't exist then. You know what I mean? And furthermore, Tupac had one of the better rap or hip hop rapper contracts, in the game at that particular time, because he had his own record label, Out the Gutter Records. But so when you delve into that, and like I said, the album was released once he was in prison, so it takes a little while. But this is the thing that most people don't understand: when Tupac was in jail, he had that case, the case that he was actually in jail for. Remember, #1, he got out on bail, right? From the instance that he was locked up. He was charged, then he got out on bail. You understand what I'm saying? Got out on bail and went through the proceedings, going to court, had to go to court. Then he was convicted. And after he was convicted, they sent him right to jail. So now, when Tupac had got out, he needed more money. And so at this time, Tupac's album is not out yet, right? Remember, it got released when he was in prison. So when he gets out, he needs money now to pay, his lawyer, all of the, investigators and so on and so forth. DNA, his DNA, all of the things that you would normally need to take care of a case. And what people don't understand is that Interscope actually gave him $600,000. So they gave Tupac $600,000 as an advance against future royalties, whichever royalties they would be. That would be from the albums before or the albums to come. So now that's $600,000, right? Okay, cool. So now he gets the money. You still doing your thing. Going to court, and so on and so forth. And then remember, the Quad Studio thing happens, and he gets shot. Okay, cool. Boom, that happens. Now you're going through all of the stuff that you're going through and dealing with that, and you're still going to court. And then, I think 2 weeks later, boom, he gets convicted, and he gets immediately sent to prison. So now you 600 down in the hole, minus or plus what you down in the hole already, as far as all the other money that you might owe if you haven't been recouped from all the other albums that you put out. And so now 600,000 when Tupac goes to jail, and then he wants to get bail. Like I said, he gets denied that, but eventually he gets a bail, and it's 1.4 million. And so, like I said, I had did a video briefly on this before, but going into detail to really give you the ins and outs. So the bail then is 1.4 million, right? So now, what people don't understand, once that gets put up, right? Once against future royalties, future earnings, Tupac's earnings, right? Okay, so now you 2 million down, right? And so even though when he was in jail, he had the #1 album, it wasn't until he was given bail, okay, you can calculate, I think it did 200,000 units in the first week. So you could calculate that money. You would say, okay, well, he paid them back. No, it don't work like that. Now you got to look at the money that they put up, not the bail money or the 600,000, the money that they initially put up to press the record, marketing, promotion, all of that stuff. All of that stuff gets accounted for first. Okay, now we start working on that 600,000 and that 1.4 million, right? But at this time, he's, off into another record. He's off into All Eyes on Me now. And with All Eyes on Me now, he basically then comes back and he scores the big shot. And basically, if you were to do the math on that, All Eyes on Me basically paid all of that money back. That 2 million, that 600,000, and that 1.4, and now Tupac is now in the green. He's no longer in the red; he's in the green, should I say? And so that's the reason why having the #1 album with Me Against the World, he wasn't able to bail himself out. And also, people don't understand is that the judge had set up certain criteria. Basically, it was a cash bail. So the judge wanted $1.4 million cash. They didn't want any kind of, because they were scared that Tupac might run. Coming from the prosecutor's side, hey, judge, he's a, what they tell him is he's a flight risk. He's a celebrity, but hey, we really don't know. His auntie's the side of Shakur. She ran to Cuba. In dealing with, and so they, it's the boogeyman, spook. He might do this, he might do that. And so when you understand that was the reason why, Tupac didn't have $1.4 million cash. I don't know. It's people that do have $1.4 million cash. But in hip hop, like I said, once again, unless you're on the side of, I can't really name any names because I don't want to name names like that. But, certain people who might be liquid like that, you know what I mean? That could pay a $1.4 million cash bail. And so that was the reason why that Tupac couldn't actually bail himself out and having the number one record, Me Against the World, at that particular time, because he didn't have 1.4 million in cash. But like I said, Interscope did give him $600,000 to help pay for his lawyers and to fight his case. And so, like I said, most people don't understand and know this. People, they quick to jump emotionally at what they think they know versus what's really going on. And like I said, Tupac was an emotional guy. You know what I mean? And a lot of times you can't deal with emotions when you're doing business. You have to be business minded and you have to focus. Your emotions are not really appreciated. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, calm down. This is how it works. And whether you know that or not, usually if you looked at Prince's situation, Prince was the same way, but Prince handled it a little bit differently. He wasn't emotional about it and end up winning his Masters when he was fighting Warner Brothers. And so when you understand the business aspect of it, that's the reason why Tupac, wasn't able to actually bail himself out, because he didn't have the 1.4 million cash. The judge and them, they wanted cash. It wasn't about no property bond or nothing like that. You couldn't put up no houses. And then furthermore, Tupac really didn't have any property to put up at that particular time. He didn't own any property. And we know that basically by, the fact that when he died, the things that they did say he owned. But I will say this is the thing that Tupac, I don't think he really understood about the law in regards to that. And so how Interscope did what they did, they put up a corporate guarantee. Tupac could have actually paid his own bail, and got the bail bondsman to put up the cash, right? And front the cash. You understand what I'm saying? But Tupac was such a high risk. You know what I mean? They seen the trouble that he'd been in before. You don't want to, put your money up there like that. And like I said, and your bail gets revoked, or you get in some kind of trouble, and you seen the situation in Vegas and all of the things that went into that. So, you know what I mean? He could have put up his company, Out the Gutter Records. He could have said, my company, Out the Gutter Records, is going to put up a corporate guarantee just like they did. But he knew nothing about that. You understand what I'm saying? And so when you got lawyers that really know in regards to what that is and about that, and I believe that they needed partial of the money to be cash, and you could put up the rest as a corporate guarantee. So they need a certain amount of money to be cash, and because they always put stipulations. I don't care who you are. Like I said, when the bail comes out, as you seen with Suge Knight, they wanted $25 million for Suge Knight, and they wanted $25 million cash. You understand what I'm saying? So when you understand like how the bail system works, you'll understand why Tupac couldn't actually bail himself out of jail, even having the number one album in the country at that particular time. And you got to remember that the album came out while he was in prison. It didn't come out before he went to prison. Your boy DELRAY, straight gang.